with you. So, Dr. Mories Atoki, you will be having the floor now, to talk about the private sector coalition for improved health outcomes in Africa. This is another very interesting aspect that I believe the whole world wants to hear from you. From the way you're sounding, it's very clear that we have someone who is in charge at home. The floor is yours, Dr. Atoki. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Akongbe. Well, I don't know about being in charge. Let's leave God to being in charge. But yes, you're right to say that it will be interesting to talk a bit about ABC Health. ABC Health is acronym actually for African Business Coalition for Health. I don't know, do you guys have my slides? Can you put it up, please? I sent my slides. Ashwini, would you like to put up my slides? Or perhaps I just talked to it. Can you still hear me? Dr. Akongwe, I need my slides actually. I'm not sure why my slides are not coming up.
Yes, I can hear you. I've actually communicated to them. I believe they are working on it to just get it done.
Okay,
They are
because
going
of time.
to project it very soon. Yes, I understand. Thank you very much. Apology
Okay,
for that.
that's fine.
All right, thank you. Hello, Dr. Toki. Maybe you can just continue with the introductory part of it. The technical team are working behind the scene to get the slides on. Sorry, thank you. Sorry
Right,
for
okay.
that delay. Thank
So
you.
like I mentioned earlier, it is ABC Health is actually acronym for African Business Coalition for Health. And you're right, Dr. Akongwe, to say that it is a private sector coalition. It's a not-for-profit, and it was founded by Alhaji Aliko Dangote in his capacity as the founder of Aliko Dangote Foundation, and Mr. Aigoje Imokwede in his capacity as the co-chair for Global Business Coalition for Health in New York. We were set up, we were launched on the margins of the 32nd African Union Heads of State Summit in Addis in 2019. It was really quite coincidental that it was just shortly um, uh, before COVID that ABC Health was launched. But again, ABC Health was not launched because of COVID. So I usually like to put that out there. And we had very eminent personalities who, together agreed for the necessity to coalesce Africa business leaders to get them more involved in, to get them, to participate, to mobilize resources, to aggregate competencies around health. We just really observed that there's been a lot of disconnect, especially because health is a niche area, and generally people will not want to be interested in other people's health, except it's theirs or people that are related to them. But we thought that Africa cannot afford that. Africa is a place where consistently government has not particularly demonstrated capacity to be able to address health and healthcare in the way that the population health requires. And so that coalition was set up. More importantly, to bring the successful and key business leaders in Africa into a platform, a safe space for them to discuss health without being judged, really, to and ask the right kind of questions to be able to contribute meaningfully to health and to healthcare. We have our strategy. Please go to slide 3. I'm already on slide 3. We have our strategy as an organization, and in that strategy, the strategy is a 5-year strategy, and we put it together so that we can um, look into our theory of change to be able to make the right kind of impact uh, as far as Africa's health is concerned. And our theory of change, we have three goals. The goals are to cultivate partnerships and mobilize the African private sector resources to healthcare and change the way it works through our influence, through our competencies, and of course, through our resources. The second goal is to identify innovative solutions. Just we're talking about telemedicine, telehealthcare. We're paying very um, deep attention to telehealth and just to see how the dynamics are unfolding. So we identify innovative solutions and interventions that address specific disease areas and disease burdens, and also universal healthcare. And lastly, is to act as a catalyst that coordinates efforts and supports African companies with understanding and with tools that enhance workplace best practice, workplace health best practice. Over that, we have key levers. We have platforms for partnerships so across business, across by businesses, we mean corporates, across private providers, innovative solutions, impact investing, and of course, coordinated philanthropy. Over time, we built, partnerships, some formal partnerships and some informal partnerships with some very big players like the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, the UNAIDS, NIH, um, and of course, the corporates themselves. Access Bank has been very supportive to us. We also have, the Aliko Dangote Foundation itself. They are one of our principal partners alongside the Global Business Coalition for Health in New York. We actually mirror the success of the GBC Health because they've been around in the last decade and more, doing the same thing. And through GBC Health, that's a coalition of business leaders across the world, but situated in US. They've been able to really contribute to eradicating diseases like HIV, AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria in the US. And that has been a success. And so, what we hope to also achieve with that sensitization, with that coalition here in Africa, is to eradicate a lot of diseases that are prevalent across African nations. So, with a lot of research we've done, especially in partnership with our technical partners, UNECA, we were able to document top 10 causes of death in Africa. So we have 10 priority areas, which we call, the 10 top disease burdens. And in those 10 disease burdens, we have two of them that we think that private sector has more interest in. And for us, it's about drawing the correlation between economic security of a nation as well as the population health. So not losing sight of the fact that the economic security is a large determinant of the growth of the economy of that nation. So we're talking about, the learned, the educated, the skillful, who are able to, make um, the economic to shaping up. And in determining our two areas of focus, we looked at ischemic heart disease. And you look at it, and so we're talking about the hypertension, especially as it negatively impacts on the workplace health, on people in the workforce. And we looked at maternal, neonatal, and child healthcare as it largely impacts on the larger population of
Hello, Dr. Toki.
countries across Africa. Yes, please.
Yeah, you can actually control your slide from your end now.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
And no, I don't see myself doing that. No, I can't. So
Okay. Okay. The slide we're having right now, is it correct with what you're saying? Because
no,
I'm
it's
just trying.
not. I passed this. So
Uh-huh. Okay.
go a
Okay.
bit further. A bit. Yes, this is where I am now. No.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. I'm talking about
Thank
the
you.
diseases. No. Yes. So I talked about the diseases and I talked about our two priority areas as focus. And our two areas are ischemic heart disease as well as maternal. And you can see that reflective in the first one, ischemic heart disease is ranking the highest. And we can see neonatal as well as preterm birth disorders ranking 7 and 8 and 9 respectively. Next slide, please. And so also we've brought about a couple of initiatives, and maybe when we talk a bit about this initiative, it helps you to figure out how we do things. So one of it is called the Academy for Health Entrepreneurs in Africa, and the initiative is a venture building masterclass across Africa, and the idea really is to um, support established health entrepreneurs to attract funding. So we observed, and you would appreciate that we are a multi-sector group. So we have people in the banking and finance industry, people in the oil and gas, telecoms, all of us coming together just to play in the health and space. Whether play can be investing, play can be just really understanding and making informed decisions through our corporate social responsibilities and so on and so forth. So there's this Academy for Health Entrepreneurs, and the idea is to support health entrepreneurs to understand better how to attract funding. So we observed again that when they're dealing with investors, they're either not speaking the right language or they're not answering the questions appropriately. And so we created this academy in partnership with the Global Business Coalition for Health to be able to support, through uh, some models and some um, mentoring in that capacity. We also have something called the West Africa AFCFTA Anchored Pharmaceutical Initiative. And this one is in partnership with the UNECA. Again, this is to tap into the over 3 trillion US dollars that Africa loses on an annual basis to importations of medicines that we consume. We thought that this particular area needs to be looked at, from the economic point of view, not just for the beneficiaries and the health point of view. But if we're losing, if developing nations and emerging economies are losing that kind of money to consumptions on a daily basis, from importations, then we're better to start looking at areas like enhancing manufacturing capacity, standardizing, market straits through the FCFTA guidelines, and also really addressing counterfeit medicines. And so that's what that initiative is about. So there's also a local initiative on maternal, neonatal, and child health on the margins of our partnership, the membership of TGI. TGI is a group that I'm sure you know them as Chi. And we're kicking off our pilot program across West Africa. We're starting with Northern Nigeria, again, because Northern Nigeria has the highest population of where those two issues in maternal death and neonatal, as well as child death, is most prevalent. And fourth, we have the African Investment Series, and this is a webinar, is a series of webinars that we're launching to bring the value chain of health and draw a market mapping analysis of all of the components, on a gradual basis, and have conversations about the marketability, about the potentials in market, the market size of all of these components in a multi-sector forum, as against just having it, with the health sector alone. We think there are a lot of interest and capacities that other sectors can bring into play to support, the entirety of the health value chain in Africa. Unlike in other advanced environments where you have um, the public sector taking radical responsibility of public health. It's not the same narrative in Africa. And the earlier we accept that as a as a situation for us to address, the better it will be for the population. And lastly, in our initiatives, we also have something called Health and Economic Growth Report in Africa. Like I said, we are in the business of drawing that correlation and letting the business society see that clear correlation between health and economic growth. In 2019, the first one was launched when ABC Health was launched. In 2023, we have plans, 2023 to 2024, we have plans to launch, in partnership with the UNECA, another edition, the second edition, but now titled Doing Health Differently in Africa, Now and Beyond COVID-19, for relevance, to address the prevailing issues and so on and so forth. Why are we saying all of this? I mean, for us, there's a we I'm an advocate for participation in health, um, especially from the business community and all other non-direct health actors and players. It's important for us not to categorize health and healthcare as a secondary thing and leave it in the hands of those we um, assume are experts. They need capacity, they need support, they need our minds and our advocacy to make health a priority. And that's what we're doing with the business community. So, again, this is an opportunity to call all of the businesses that are here and beyond to join the African Business Coalition for Health. Some business leaders have decided to champion this course, and all you have to do to want to be part of it is to go to our website. It's www.abchealth.com, and we'll be happy to have conversations with you on what you can bring on board to foster all of those conversations. And generally, I mean, we do have offerings. If you're an organization and you're joining us, we want to be able to give you social return on your investment. And that will be enhanced company visibility and recognition for what you bring in terms of capacity, in terms of competency, and in terms of resources. Of course, there's also directed CSR and corporate social investment that we can give you a lot of insight on. We have a knowledge hub on our website where we think private sector should go to be able to understand more about the dynamics of health in the way that we think the businesses are able to comprehend. There's also optimized employee engagement and workplace best practice. If you want to learn about a bit more about how you should satisfy your workers as far as health is concerned, you might want to interact with us or interact with our website. And lastly, is to develop narratives of health initiatives through the coalition. We see that sometimes a lot of non-health private sector players struggle to be able to comprehend and to be able to document some of their efforts in advancing health and healthcare. I must thank you for this opportunity. I know I've exceeded my time. Dr. Akonde, over to you, sir.
Wow, thank you very much, Dr. Mories Atoki, for I was just carried away by your presentation because I have heard about ABC Health before, at least because I'm part of the players in the healthcare industry, and your presentation today has really opened my eyes to so many things, which I think I will start making some steps, and we I also believe that other people from this platform, they must have seen one opportunity or the other, particularly those who are representing one healthcare facilities or the other, to see that okay, there's a need to partner with ABC Health, because with what you have just explained, I just look at it and say, wow, there are a lot of opportunities that will definitely be enjoyed once this is done. And we really want to thank you for your very quality time. We have really, really taken much of your time. You were the moderator, and at the same time, you are making a presentation. And definitely, I believe everyone on this platform have actually enjoyed one thing or the other from what you have said. You have not actually exceeded your time. You really manage your time very well, both from the panel session and also your presentation. In fact, I give it up to you. And I know that,
Thank you so much.
we are going to reach out to you any soon. So happy that, this, organization was, it was started by Aliko Dangote, and which I believe whenever we want to get your assistant, I mean, the rendezvous expert, we can easily reach out to you for any support. Very soon, very, very soon, the physical event is going to come up again in Lagos, in Nigeria, very, very soon. And of course, we'll need your support. Thank you once again, Dr. Uh, uh, I'm sorry, don't
Morris
mind, Dr.
Atoki.
Morris. Thank you very much once again for this your quality time. Really
All right.
appreciate you. And do have a
Thank
very
you,
beautiful time.
distinguished audience and participant. Thank you, Dr. Akongbe. It's been a pleasure.
You're
Have a good
welcome.
afternoon.
Thank you very much. Very soon we'll be going.